David, I wanted to know if we could bond really quick over how Todd McFarlane is our mutual hero.
I would love to. I've been
I am so
collect-
over Todd. I am so over Todd.
sorry.
It's your cross to bear, Todd.
Yeah, man. We're sorry to inform you. You had a just lasting effect on millions of us, so you got to deal with it. I've got my long boxes back here. I've got stuff with Todd's fingerprints artistically, creatively, that go back to the early 90s and late 80s stuff that I've been collecting since I first started. And so that's my take is like I wonder what it would be like to go back to that kid who was, at Clint's Comics South in Kansas City looking at, a McFarlane book, and you say to him, someday you're going to be on a Zoom with him promoting your idea, Knights versus Samurai, which I was dreaming up at that age, and that McFarlane's going to be like the shepherd for the project. So,
No,
no big
I mean,
deal.
I know I've told Todd this before. I mean, this is his artwork right here. It's signed, but I think I have Todd's artwork and signature in every room in my house somewhere. By the way, Todd, nice haircut. That's looking good, man.
Oh, I got it yesterday.
Yeah.
My wife went to the salon, and I go, she's not going to be the only one that looks sassy in the house. So,
Well, Todd, what was the most exciting aspect of working with David on this?
Oh boy.
really, for me, Chris, and again, you and I have done plenty of interviews about superhero comic books and all this stuff that I do. Um, I thought that his idea was a breath of fresh air away from the norms of sort of spandex superheroes.
Mhm.
And maybe I'm just showing my age a bit, but as I've gotten older, my tastes have become way more eclectic. And uh, as much as I do enjoy superhero comics, I do plenty of them myself. I don't need, nor do I desire a steady diet of it.
Mhm.
I'm looking for a little more variety in my reading habits. And so I thought that and plenty of people come and they bring sort of a nice version of another superhero idea. And in my mind, I'm like, well, I got plenty of superhero ideas I can come up with, right? I don't need help on that. What I need help on is things that I'm not sort of adept at. And so David walked in, gave me this big idea, but was able to condense it down to the humanity of it real quickly. And it wasn't based on his initial story wasn't he didn't focus on the magic and the wizardry of the world or the creatures of the world. That was sort of in the back of the conversation. What was way more interesting was the characters, right? I mean, a little bit like when you think about Walking Dead, what makes that work isn't really the zombies; they're just a catalyst.
Right.
It's the humanity of what happens when two families run into each other and there's only 1 gallon of water and they're both families are thirsty.
Mhm.
What happens, right? So the humanity of people, and in this case, different cultures. And so David came in big and strong with all of that, and I went, wow. And that it's knights and samurai. That was the easy part. Visually, I visualized it as soon as he
Yeah.
said what the title was. So I go, I know it's going to look, but now how do we get people to care about the characters? And David came out and pounded me with it. I was like, man, and they're dressed like knights and samurai. Done, done.
No, I love the first issue. I thought it was fantastic, and funny enough, I was just talking to somebody about that the other day. That like, not that I love superheroes, but I think it's something that we're getting some people I think are just maybe getting a little bit burnt out on it, and I thought this was just such a cool fresh take. Speaking of knights versus samurai, have the two of you discussed how far you envision this story going?
I have been dreaming of this and writing this idea for so long that my short answer is as long as Todd lets me, really it's up to the readers, and it's up to us. Like, I've got the gas, the tank is full. I see the vision forward, because what I love about the world in which we get to tell stories through comic books is the serialized nature of this form of storytelling comes with first, second, third, and fourth acts that need to resolve. You need to give your reader that sense of arrival. And what I am so grateful for, that the universe, that my life gave me the opportunity to not be a successful writer early in life. I had decades of time waiting for an opportunity to be in front of someone like Todd McFarlane as I developed my proverbial chops, if you will, that I see where this goes, the worlds that are built. So as long as Todd lets me.
Is the plan to release Knights versus Samurai monthly right now?
Yeah, I've got scripts right now that we're working on as we speak that take us through into next year. And then
and I think we're Fetty's number 4 right now or something. So we've got books in the can. Yep.
Nice. That I've heard that's the way to do it. Now, eventually, David, is this something that you'd possibly pass off to another writer, or do you have a clear ending in mind? Is that something, I'm always curious about that when you create something like this. Like, how far do you want it to go before you're like, it's okay if somebody else takes this on, or you would rather finish it the way you want to finish it?
Endings to me are very important, because it's life is our beginning and an ending is our death. And this story, one of the things I committed to, and Todd supported me from the beginning, was that anybody on the playing field is vulnerable to death. So there are endings and deaths of journeys, of arcs that are already in the dream that I have of the world of Knights versus Samurai. It's an expansive enough world that begins in 1575 at a time when the world history in reality was freaking fascinating. Yeah. Throw in a fictional intersection of knights, samurai, including dragons, witches, oni, ogres, trolls, and all other manner of creatures. We've been building out, a version of Earth that it would be a deep honor to me at some point that somebody comes to, McFarlane and goes, I've got a pitch. I've got an idea for what, that plot when they go to X place and that thing happened and there was that battle and this team of, of creatures. I've got this idea. That to me is the ultimate dream. But as the guy who's been learning this the hard way for a long time, 22 years, I've been learning this certain mantra, which is one day at a time. I just go one day at a time. I do the best script I can do that's in front of me. I try and give all I can give to these characters so that the readers feel fully satisfied, and then hopefully they'll keep showing up.
Now, some of the issue takes place.
Chris, can I just jump in on that a little bit? And I understand, because there's plenty of miniseries and standalone books that have a beginning, middle, and end, right? David didn't come with that. He have the ending in mind. Just so you know, I know what the ending in my mind. I know what the ending of Spawn was. The first issue I wrote it. I just hoped that I would never have to write it, because why? Right? When I go into Hollywood, it's always interesting to give a pitch on thing, right? And I always find it's an odd question, especially when you're given a pitch at Hollywood, that it's like, well, I don't know, what's the ending of Batman? Why? Instead of asking what's the ending, why aren't you asking the other question in Hollywood? Can we make this go for 40 years like Batman? Like that should be the test that they're already talking about. You're pitching them the first episode. They're already thinking about the ending of it. If this book was called Shrek, right, and it was named after a single character, David sort of paints himself into a little bit of a corner, but by making the title sort of big, but I don't want to say generic, but meaningful, that he's not tied to any character. So he has the latitude to basically do humanity of what might happen on a battlefield or in when people are treasonous to you and you get backstabbed or whatever else, right? So, like, yeah, why can't a story of civilization last long? Given that we're here and history says we last a long time, we can tell stories all day long. So, as long as the simple point is, as long as the readers are there, then we'll keep putting stuff out. That's the answer to almost everything that people create commercially, right? We're only as good as the people who will basically give us enough money to do it a second time and a third time and a fourth time, etc.
I think that's a great answer. Now, some of the issue takes place on a ship at sea, which just because it's you, David, made me think of Voyage of the Demeter. So have any of your past film roles helped inspire some of the ideas that you're bringing to this project?
Everything, 100%. And I'm glad you asked that question, because when I was writing this story, up until now, almost all of my screenplays, teleplays, plays, and comic books have revolved around one central character with a couple of important supporting characters but we're still following this A story of a singular character on the hero's journey, which is a form of storytelling we're all very accustomed to. Looking at something like The Last Voyage of the Demeter and a crew, a team of people who may not get along, who don't speak the same language, who are from different cultures, who kind of despise each other, but all of a sudden having to fight an entity that is bigger than any of them individually, was certainly influential. But the most important, I would say, was working with someone like James Gunn, who has found this incredible ability over the years of his storytelling to incorporate an expansive ensemble of characters into a plot, and you absolutely know who each character is, how much you care about them, what you feel about them, their relationship to one another. So I looked back on not only the time that I got to work with James, but on watching his films and going, holy crap, I need to make sure every interaction has weight, has meaning. Every relationship between Aelith, who's, this very upright female knight, but when she gets drunk, turns into the biggest, baddest barbarian, and Mundrik, the giant. And you go, well, what is there? They're just on the same team. No, I need a dynamic relationship between these characters. Otherwise, it's not going to mean anything. So the answer is, I could give a million examples, but there's so much influence. And every great filmmaker I've worked with, just like a great storyteller like Todd, understands that you can dress the set, you can paint the page with the most badass, muscly, gory clashes of katanas and broadswords and nunchucks and throwing stars against, spears, crossbows. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans if the reader doesn't give a crap about the characters and doesn't care about their relationships. So yeah.
Nice. That's a great answer, man. The cover for issue 1, by the way, is incredible. And I was wondering, Todd, if you could talk a little bit about how you collaborated with Raymond Gay on the cover art.
Well, there's two covers, right?
Okay.
There's Raymond's and then there's mine, right? And so we kind of took the art direction from David. So Raymond took the title to heart, right? Knights and Samurai, and his is a close up of those characters.
I think I saw his cover then. I have not seen your cover.
Oh boy. Get ready, dude. You should Google right now. It's not public yet. Maybe it's not out.
Yeah, it is. No, we've got it.
Is it public? I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, but he to me, he brought the camera in to basically the setup that's there and did a nice job of basically showing both factions, right? And then when I was talking to David, he wanted to sort of show a little bit of the fantasy. So I kind of took, as a matter of fact, took the camera way back. And so I sort of showed the dragons that will be a part of some of the stories. And, we're hoping that we get a second printing because we'll color it. But if you look down at the bottom, and there's a little tiny guy down there. There's a little knight. It's down there with his broadsword to give you a sense of the scale of what I was thinking of. And so you could argue. I was even thinking of actually doing Raymond's two guys in the same pose down at the bottom, and then pull the camera back and go, "Oh, they're not the only ones that are fighting." But I don't know. We wanted to very quickly in those two covers, if people take a look at both of them, get the world real quickly. Going, oh, there's big fantastic stuff. Here it is on Todd's cover. And then there's basically the two factions that will basically be the stars of the show in Raymond's. Okay, done, right? I mean, I think there's something to be said about making messages and visuals easy for people to understand early in the beginning of a new idea, a new IP. So the title, I think, is brilliant. I mean, to some extent, David had me halfway there just with the title, because I'm a visual guy and I saw it, and then all the other components. And if you look at that on a couple of the covers, you go, "Do I dig this? Yeah, do I dig this?" So that's it. Okay.
Well, just for fun, if Knights versus Samurai was adapted one day into live action, who's the first person that comes to mind for each of you to dreamcast for the Dragon Butcher?
Oh.
That's a really good question. I just saw this really awesome film called Strange Darling.
I've heard it's amazing. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard good things about it.
I believe that this actor, I can hold up the picture, but his name's Kyle Gallner. I think he's going to go places. He's so talented, and he had what was great about his performance, which the Dragon Butcher, which Charles Ward possesses, is that he can seem like a merciless, flesh slasher. He's so good with his axe, with his weapons, with his swords. You'll see as the stories unfold. But internally, he's wrecked by the trauma of the loss of his twin brother, by the fear that he has of having to be a leader in front of other men when he doesn't even really know how to speak publicly yet. And so what I saw in that performance, but I could go down a whole laundry list now and thinking about, because I mean, acting, I love it. I love movies, but I do love those Discovery, actors. Not that he hasn't done a bunch of cool stuff already, but I feel like something like this would be massive.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm not nearly fluent in the names of Hollywood, right? Which actually kind of works to my favor, Chris, in all honesty, because they put me in rooms with people and I kind of sort of don't know who they are. So I just talk baseball and the weather, and like they're going, "Oh, Todd doesn't want anything out of me," right? He's not like fanboying because I don't even know what they did. So I just sort of talk to them, and they're like, "Man, that's why I like Todd. He's not trying to suck up to me." And the answer is, I can't, because I don't even know what you did. I guess I could Google, but I'm too lazy. Oh, by the way, they said you're talented, so I'm here. And I think the word you're talented is talk about creativity, right? Everybody should get the equal chance. So to go to David's point, I like actors that surprise me when I don't know who they are. To his point, you're watching something, somebody suggests that you don't really sort of even know. You turn it on, and then there's one character that just grabs you, and you just go, "Why?" And it's usually character actors for me, right? Because they just are so real, and the character that you're talking for David's book, I think needs to have a believability to him. And sometimes, you know how this is, you get too big of a star and you think about the star as the character instead of just the character, right? That could do it. But if I had to throw a name out there, maybe somebody like with the dark bent, like Christopher Abbott or something like that.
Nice. While I have you, David, I got to ask you, have you had any talks with James Gunn at all about rejoining DC? And if you did, would you prefer to come back as Polka Dot Man or play an all new character entirely?
I have not had any conversations with James about coming back. We so rarely get to connect. He's the busiest person. He's busier than even Todd McFarlane. I mean, he's the busiest person I know in storytelling. And so when we do connect, it's mostly just talking about personal, life stuff. But that being said, getting to become Abner Krill was, one of the greatest roles of my career. I don't know how he would exist in the post events, but maybe some kind of maybe how was Polka Dot Man born? That's a fun story. I don't know. But no, I would love to. I would love to find my way back onto a James Gunn set. I don't know how it will happen or where, but he's one of the working with him was one of the most incredible experiences of my acting career, for sure.
Well, I'm just going to throw this out there because you're both here, but I mean, I bet Todd would have a part for you on King Spawn that would be pretty amazing. I don't even know what that is, but
I mean, here's the deal. We know that
David World.
There's a Spawn movie coming. I've always said to Todd that, there's this couple of guys that are hanging out that are in the Spawn universe, and one of them's kind of lean and tall, a little bit geeky, but good with the gun. Like, I always felt like there's a space for me over there. I don't know. We'll see.
yeah. I could see that. I think I know what couple of guys you're talking about. I'm a
Yeah,
big
I don't
fan of
know.
those guys
I don't like
myself.
to put ideas in executives' heads or anything like that, but I just
I
throw it
think
out.
you'd look great with a mustache,
The
David.
small, the skinny, any geeky guy, even if it's a side character, still has to defy reality in terms of his mental. Right. I like it when it's my personality. I like when the little skinny guy sort of comes and he's not afraid of anything. And you just go, why? You look like the 97-pound weakling. Why?
Yep.
And either because they have an intelligence, they have a skill that people don't know about, or, and this is the piece sometimes it's kind of fun, they're just so self-confident that they're almost delusional. But it's kind of a creepy, interesting charm about those characters that they just are willing to go into battle and regardless of their own safety. So anyway, but that's
Well,
me. I'm willing to go to war every day. So
well, gentlemen, I don't want to take up any more of your time, but this has been a hoot. I love talking to both of you, and Todd, you're the man. I think you're the man. David thinks you're the man. So
I know he's the man.
Chris, let me just end with saying that David and I have had some lengthy conversation. We know this isn't the path easily traveled, right? That's superheroes and spandex, right? And so I've warned them that it's like, hey, in all honesty, the fans, they like the superheroes. They don't really care if you're a celebrity. What they care about is good quality product. And oh, by the way, if you happen to be a celebrity, fine. But that doesn't win the day. Never has been. There's no data that says that. But Image Comic Books has been eclectic over the decades and the years. And I think this falls right into it. And as I said to them, I think trade paperbacks at bookstores may be sort of the place where this really shines the most for people who are not looking for traditional comic book, Americana comic books. And I hope so. Because David's got a hell of an idea and we'd like to show it off to the world.
Well,
Thanks.
all I can say is I love what I've seen so far. I mean, me personally, I've only read the first issue, but it was awesome. So, thank you guys both very much for your time.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks so
Thanks,
much.
Chris.